It is spring, and for a lot of us homeschoolers, that means deciding what kind of curriculum we are going to be using next year. Now, if you haven't decided yet, no worries, no stress, you have lots of time. But I know that a lot of you out there are looking through all of the early bird sales right now. I already have our curriculum for next year because I already knew what I wanted. So I'm going to share with you grade by grade what we are going to be using with our kids. So here we go. If you are new around here, welcome. I'm so glad that you have stopped by. My name is Katie. I'm adding up Addingtons. I'm a mother of 8 and we homeschool. We own our own company that my husband started. We love to travel and adventure together. We are former foster parents. We're an adoptive family, and we just cover all of the things around here because we love to encourage you. So I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and stick around with us. So today we are doing 5th grade curriculum. So Gavrel is going to be going into 5th grade. Now we use Sonlight curriculum if this is your first time stopping by. Now I have done several other videos with this curriculum. I will link all those videos down below and you can check them out. But this time I'm going to break down specifically what I'm using for 5th grade for Gavrel. Now some of this will be overlapped with my 3rd grader, Declan, and I will explain more about that later. But let's jump into it. Here we go. All right, first of all, we are using HBL, which stands for History, Bible, Literature. Sonlight used to call them cores, but now they're called HBLs. We are using level D and E condensed version of 1 year American history. Now, this newest version of HBL D and E has been upgraded, I guess, since we first started using Sonlight. And so you will see, if you look this up on their website, you will see that the recommended age range is 5th through 8th grade. So Gavrel is at the very bottom of that recommended age range. Now, I chose to go ahead and use this for a couple of reasons. One, we've completed the levels up to this point. We have done A, B, and C. So we either needed to continue to move on or take some time off, and that was not really the way I wanted to do it. Now I chose the condensed version because I really wanted our time homeschooling to be spent primarily on world history and other cultures, obviously including American history since we live in the U.S., but not primarily focused on U.S. history. So I chose the shorter version of the American history. Normally you can take 2 years through that course, but I chose to go with the shorter one so that we can spend more time on world history. All right, so for history, what Sonlight usually does is they have sort of a like spine text, if you will. So for that, we've got some good like American history textbook, encyclopedia sort of style books that we are using, as well as a couple of add-ons, some readers here. This one's about the World War I era. This one is about the era of exploration with Christopher Columbus. This one, In Search of the Source. And then there's this fun We Sing. This is lots of like traditional songs and speeches. Now the cool thing about Sonlight is that the history and literature work together. So using those very like informational sorts of texts to sort of lay out the timeline, then the literature is filling in in between the informational stuff. To go along with all those informational books, I have this big old stack of read alouds that we are also going to be reading as part of our history. Now D, level D, or in this case D and E, is sort of the first one where all of the read alouds and the readers really integrate into the spine of the text. In previous levels, some of them do, and some of them are just great books. But this one, we got a lot of sort of classics here. So these are also part of our history and literature combined study. Right. So again, as we are learning about history and the different sort of geographical movements in the history of the U.S., we're going to be reading the American Indian Prayer Guide, which not only tells us how to pray for these various Indian groups, but about them and their cultures and their histories and their locations and that kind of stuff. So that fits in with the history, but is part of the Bible curriculum per se. We have this Sing the Word CD, which we have one from like every level, but that is to help kids like memorize scripture. And then this year the Bible is really getting into the boys studying the Bible for themselves. So this is sort of a devotional study guide sort of thing that they fill in themselves as they read, rather than me just like reading either a story Bible or my Bible to them as like a historical or chronological thing. This is really them starting to dig in. So next up, let's talk about language arts. Now we also use Sonlight's language arts, so it is correlated to the history Bible literature that you're doing, starting with level D, which is where we are. So we are doing D and E language arts. Now, I could have gone with the level 4 language arts if I had wanted to kind of meet that gap between Declan and Gavrel. But the thing about language arts D and E is that all of these readers, I know I just showed you my stack of read alouds. These are different. These are the independent readers for the boys. And so these also, beginning in this level and moving forward, the readers also correspond to the level of history that we're studying. So I opted to go ahead and stick with the corresponding language arts to the HBL for that reason primarily. Now, these readers are going to be a challenge for Gavrel. Gavrel has been a little bit slower to pick up reading, and I shouldn't even say that. The phonics and the sight words are hard for him. Now, books, he loves. He loves stories. He will sit and listen to audiobooks for days. He loves to be read to. He loves to look through the books and kind of get the gist of the story. So but reading each individual word has been difficult for him, and we are working on that, and he is progressing really, really well. So a lot of these readers are going to be difficult for him, and I will probably help him through some of them. I will probably like alternate reading pages with him or something like that to help support him so that he can be successful, even though it is going to be a challenging level for him. But on the flip side, his composition, while his spelling is pretty terrible to go along with some of those tricky reading things, his composition is really good. I think the higher challenge in composition will be good for him, even if he needs a little bit of extra support on the reader side. Now, comprehension and understanding of the material in the readers is not the issue. So I'm not worried about like the subject matter or the storylines or that kind of thing being too old for him. He's kind of an old soul. So he may need some extra support reading the readers, but I think the composition side will be a good fit for him. And then to sort of help with both that phonics reading side and the spelling side, I have decided to give All About Spelling a try. I have not used this before, but it is one of Sonlight's recommended programs. So yes, I did order this from Sonlight. And the All About Spelling program recommends that you start with level 1 of their program, regardless of what grade your child is in. And so this will probably be really easy for Gavrel, but I think it will be really good reinforcement and sort of build some confidence and help with some of the things that he just trips up on. So we're going to give All About Spelling a shot. Now I'm not doing a dedicated handwriting program with him for 5th grade. Really, his handwriting is pretty good, so I'm not really concerned about that. And he did complete the cursive level handwriting in 4th grade. So we are gonna instead, now that his handwriting is pretty solid, we are gonna focus instead on the reading and spelling side of things. Next up, let's talk about science. Again, we use Sonlight's program, so we are doing Science D. Now, this is not directly correlated with the history Bible literature, so I had to choose between D and E. Again, we finished C, and so this one looked like a biology, taxonomy, and human anatomy. Looked like something that my boys could really dig into. All right, so we have our science supplies kit with all of the materials that we need to complete the experiments. There is the experiment video guide. There's an extra informational DVD. So we again have some spine type books. We've got this biology level 1. We've got the mysteries and marvels of nature. We have the first encyclopedia of seas and oceans. Let's see, there's a couple of other, not necessarily spine type books, but fill in sort of stuff. There's one on water. Magic School Bus is always a popular one. This one about they have a scientist biography in most levels, so this is ours for this time. And then we have these TOPS workbooks that are for the experiments, talking about plants and how they grow. So that is science. I think it's going to be super fun. Moving on to math. There's probably lots of door slamming, y'all. My kids don't understand the definition of quiet. So we use Singapore math. Now, I wish I could tell you that I had made a very intelligent, thought out, logical decision on why we use Singapore math. The truth is that when Gavrel was in preschool, I sort of like picked one that sounded good, and it's been working really well, so we're sticking with it. Anyway, so Gavrel is actually sort of in between years, so he is almost halfway through the 4th grade level right now, and we will just continue the 4th grade level into 5th grade, and whenever he's done, we will switch to 5th grade. I think he will, at the end of 5th grade, I think he will have caught up. But the great thing about Singapore math is that it is actually half a year to a full year ahead of most American curriculums. Now, this is the U.S. edition of Singapore math, but just the subject matter tends to be half to a full year. I have definitely found that to be true. So like Gavrel, even though he's only halfway through the 4th grade math, can do, you know, like long form division and multiplication and that kind of stuff. So I remember doing long division in 4th grade. I think he's pretty on point at this point. We're starting into, let's see, the level 4 gets into a lot more geometry kind of stuff. So we did get a kit that came with the set. So Singapore usually has like the textbook and then the workbook. So this sort of explains the concepts. This is where they actually do their written work. And then it does come with the instructor's guide and then any other materials or manipulatives that you need. So we're going to continue through level 4, and we'll just jump right into 5 whenever he is done with this. Right, now finally, we sort of incorporate foreign language into a lot of different things that we do around here, but this year for our language study, and our language of choice is German, because that is mommy's second language to be used. It's always been sort of informal, and I've just thrown in some books and stuff that I have here and there. This year I am really excited to try out TalkBox.Mom and their program. So unfortunately, I discovered them after we made our homeschool budget for the year. So I am sort of piecing together what I can inside of my budget this year. So I don't have the full like boxed subscription program that they offer, although it is a goal. But I did order this book, Use German at Home, which is a phrase book. It comes with their app, so you can hear all of these phrases by native speakers. I also ordered their special like homeschool phrases package, and same thing, everything goes, whatever you buy, it goes into your app once you log in, and you can hear those phrases. So I have this one and the homeschool one. Hopefully I can eventually get to the point where I can order the first box, because I love the concept. I love the idea of it, and it has been pretty great so far. My kids know how to get dressed and empty the dishwasher and take the dog out in German. And so I really love the concept, and I'm hoping I can incorporate it more, but this is what I have so far. All right, that is what we are using for 5th grade this next year, the 2021-22 school year for Gavrel. Let me know if you have any other questions or comments about our 5th grade curriculum or our homeschool in general. Be on the lookout for my 3rd grade, 1st grade, and pre-K videos as well. Those will be coming up soon. Again, you can check out all of my other videos about our Sonlight curriculum so far this season. As always, I will have my Sonlight referral link down in the description box. They give those to everybody who orders from them, so this is not sponsored. I have paid all of my own money for everything you see here today. But if you order from Sonlight and use my referral code, you will get $5 off of your first $50 order. And then actually TalkBox.Mom has a very similar program, so I will leave the referral for that program in the description box as well. As always, thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell if you want to be the first to know when I put out my videos, and give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful to you. That helps other people see it. I appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Bye.